All right, we are live. So I wanted to start with the most important question, of course. What kind of dog do you have?
I have she's a rescue, so she's a ton of different breeds. She's primarily pit bull. She's got Chihuahua in her. She has some Shih Tzu. Like she's everything.
She's a proper mutt.
Yeah, she's a pit bull with massive Chihuahua ears. Is how we describe her.
Nice.
Yeah.
I currently have a sick Yorkie poodle next to me who keeps getting sick, so your
Aw.
dog would probably eat my dog.
Oh yeah, she's not cool with the other dogs. She makes her space known.
Nice.
Yeah.
So I read your bio on, I think it's both or your website about starting out when you were like 6 years old with a Sony Handycam, which I recently started shooting with a
Oh, that's
Sony
super
Handycam.
fun. That's fun.
The last year I shot just like personal stuff, and I actually shot like behind the scenes of a wedding, my last wedding I ever shot last year, and edited that together. And it's just the way it looks, it's just amazing. But I was just wondering, in terms of like, why do you think you had that passion at 6 to like start filming? Where does that come from?
Oh man, I have no idea. It was before, Instagram and all of that. I didn't really know anything on social media. I was kept off of that, of course. I was 6. But I just loved having a camera in my hands. Whenever my friends and I would hang out, we would open iMovie and we would make our own like shows, like the Rayna and Jackie show or whatever, and we would just talk to the camera and entertain it and perform. I don't know, maybe it was like an obsession with looking at myself, to be honest, on the camera. But I would also take that handy cam and I'd go around the house and there's footage of just me zooming in super close to my brother's faces. So I think I was a little bit obsessed with looking at myself and talking, but also with the technology of it. I just loved playing with the buttons on it. I don't know.
Yeah, I had a obsession that probably started when I was in like the 4th grade with a Polaroid camera. And then when I was in junior high, when the darkroom was sort of still a thing, I realized walking around with a camera, people sort of let you in their space because you were taking photos and they sort of just like to be recognized in that way. So it's like sort of like it breaks down barriers very quickly when you are interested in someone and willing to document them. So I think that's where my obsession came. And it's like you can also like step in and step out of like reality in a weird way, or it's like, oh no, I'm focusing
Yeah.
on taking a video or a photo, or I want to be like an active participant.
Yeah, I
And it
think
sounds like,
it. Yeah,
sorry,
I
go ahead.
think I just like found it at the right time. Like 6 years old, that's when your imagination is the wildest, and it was like I was convinced I was making movies and TV shows that people would love, right? And I think it just lined up perfectly for my age range there.
Yeah. I had the same thing. I thought I was going to be on like the next episode of Jackass when I was in high school, and we would go around filming silly videos. And I think probably about 10 people saw those videos, but still, it was just like the bond me and my friends made by creating those videos and knowing we'd probably never even watch them. There's something that doesn't exist anymore where you just created to create and you didn't care if there was an audience or if it went viral. I kind of hate the world that we're in now where everything has to like get impressions. But in terms of that, actually, I was wondering, since you're really, really good at breaking down subjects and talking directly to camera, talking head in your videos, have you seen, I know LinkedIn was like really pushing video and then they cut back. Have you seen like your impressions go really down with your video, or are they sort of the same, or what's going on with that, do you think?
Yeah, around the time that I started posting on LinkedIn, that's when the big boom was of getting millions of impressions. And so it felt really good, right? You would post a video and you immediately get 3 million impressions, you get like 300 interactions with it, and it felt really good. But over time, I started making, or I was continuing to make the same thing because you don't want to change what works. And I was noticing that the impressions were dropping significantly, right? So at one point, I was getting 3 million impressions on one video. And then I would post the same video using like the same formulas. And I think it dropped to like 2,000 impressions or something. And I'm like, what is going on? So I think a lot of last year, I was battling that a bit of what used to work wasn't working anymore, but I couldn't quite figure out what the new thing was. Sorry, I'm battling a cold right now.
Same.
Yeah, yeah. But yeah, so my impressions dipped quite a bit last year. My growth slowed so much, but over the course of, I want to say, the past 3 months, I've started to notice that the videos that used to work at the very beginning are performing once again. Like they're starting to not hit those same levels, but they're no longer flopping every time I post. So I've been exploring that again.
Okay. In terms of, I saw like your one of your more recent posts, and it seemed like it was pretty good in terms of reactions, anyways. For me, it seems like whenever I post video, it does absolutely nothing for me. I know everyone sort of there's the big like uh, everyone's talking about how now it's all about building trust with video, which I agree with. Like it's a very easy way if you can get people to watch, like a minute at a time of you talking. There's a way of building trust, and I feel that you've done that with me, and that's why I reached out. It's like I felt like I already knew you without ever talking to you, so that definitely works. Do you see anything in terms of like what type of videos that are working for you? Is it just like very broad, or is it more narrow for like what you're trying to sell in terms of your services?
Yeah. So I do a mix of content for that. So sometimes I'll hit more on the services aspect where I know it might not perform that well, but at least I'm getting my messaging out about the actual things that I can provide to a customer. But oftentimes, the way that I see video on LinkedIn is I want to talk about my expertise so that I can show and give away for free all of my knowledge that I have and build trust that way. And my bet is that somebody's going to see those videos and they're going to be like, okay, Rayna really knows how to make videos, and I actually don't really have time to make videos. So why don't I just hire Crux Content and have them do all the work for me? The videos that tend to do super well for me are, in terms of impressions and what I think helps with the trust building aspect, is giving extremely actionable tips. So, like my most recent from last week that I posted with like the rule of thirds, that video was just, hey, your eye line should be right here. This is how you should frame your shot to make it look like a bit cleaner. That's something that somebody can change immediately. Like, they don't have to buy a piece of equipment. They don't have to go learn a new editing software. They can just do that. So that's the type of stuff that I think really resonates with the average LinkedIn user.
That's great. I didn't think of that. I mean, I thought it was a great video, but I didn't think of it that way. That's
Yeah,
awesome.
I
Um,
feel like a lot of video creators, the reasons that their videos tend not to do too well is because this is a very complex subject, and we know a lot more than the people that we're talking to just because this is stuff we do every day. But because of that, we're not explaining all the details that someone might need to know. And so I really try to take it down to, will my finance wife understand this video? And if it's yes, then this is good for LinkedIn.
I did something not in video format, but in a really bad. I took a really bad selfie of myself and like really drew like almost looked like my son, my 5-year-old drew on it of like why this is such a bad photo, just to give people an idea of like how to like dissect a photo. And that's one of my best performing posts
Yeah.
of last year because it was just like, and it was also just like in real time. I was just like, I'm going to create this and I'm not going to judge it. I'm just going to put it out there. And of course, it blew up compared to other things I
Exactly, yeah.
do. But I think it's exactly that is like you have to like you're talking to a 5-year-old in a way or someone like that has no knowledge of video or photo or whatever it is, and then it really connects, which is hard when you become an expert in something because you want to like go on deep dives and really get in there. So yeah, that's a great point.
Yeah.
Do you think so the videos to me on LinkedIn, there's like people like you doing what you do is really good. Then there's people who like have found like really good ways to like highlight their industry with funny stuff that seems to like really blow up. And I know why, because people like funny. And the other one is just kind of like I feel like everything is like fluff. Like it's either like too much selling. It's too like this is our product, or it's just like you can tell it's like too much like PR type talk. Do you think like if you're able to come off funny in video or you have like a good sense of humor, that's a way to like build around your business? Or do you think it's like a very hard niche when it comes to video, to be funny
Yeah,
and create videos?
yeah, 100%. I feel like that funny factor, it does tie into the trust thing as well, in my opinion, because in order to be funny about a subject, you have to be an expert in it. And maybe you're not saying the expert things like use this keyframe type to easy ease, whatever, but you're like making a joke about a thing that people would only understand if you've had that problem before. Somebody that well, I wouldn't, I'm trying to think of somebody that does it really well, but I'm going to just name someone in the sales space. Roy Schumacher, he speaks a lot about that. He only posts funny content, but it helps him with his prospects specifically because he understands their pain points so well that they're like, oh, you get me. And so I'm going to trust the solution that you're about to demonstrate to me.
And so you're currently at like 8,000 plus followers. Do you think that's because of your like boom with your with video when LinkedIn was really pushing it? Or do you have like in 2026, what's sort of your strategy outside of maybe video that's working? And it doesn't even have to be like posting related. It could be like, behind the scenes, like DMing people or networking. Is there anything that's really like helping your numbers at the moment?
Yeah, I would say networking specifically, that helps the business side for me. For me, that's just having conversations and checking in with people. I think that I've spent, so the first 2 years I've been on LinkedIn, I was working full time for companies. So there was never like a worry of, oh, where's my next client coming from? Which was super helpful because I was able to spend those 2 years just meeting people and getting to know people, and there was no pressure of like a business ask around it. But I'm noticing over the past 3 months as I'm trying to find clientele now and like pitching people and all of that, the reception is a lot warmer. I'm not cold pitching people. I'm not like, hey, you have no idea who I am, buy my services. I'm just reaching out to people who I consider friends, and I'm like, hey, if you have anybody that's interested, like happy to work with you. And that base, I think, has set me up for a lot of success. And then now I just, in my free time now, I'm meeting with people still. So I'm continuing to build this network, but at the same time, I have a solid foundation for my network.
Nice. One thing you're really good at is, and I mean, I don't know if you self-critique the way I do, but I don't think I'm an expert whatsoever when it comes to making videos. But how do you come off as so confident in your videos? Like, are you taking 4 hours to create one of these videos that's a minute long, or is it like you're just really good at like, oh, I'm gonna make a cut there, so I just have to get these 3 words right? Like, what's your like overall process, and sort of how did you get confident to start doing like talking head if you were beginning from scratch?
Yeah, I would say for me, and what I tell everybody is it's repetition. I think that, I mean, at the beginning of the conversation, you were like, you were 6 years old pointing the camera, but quite literally, like from then on, I was talking to a camera. Like I was on the high school morning news show, and then in college, I was doing some like journalist stuff. And so I just have done it so much that I don't really think about it. I do have those moments where like I can't say a line right, like it's just not like I keep tripping up over my words or it's coming out wrong, but I've gotten to the point where I just like have to breathe and be like, all right, just lock in, let's get this line and be done. For me, I think that with social media and all that, a lot of people just care maybe a little bit too much what other people think of them. And I think that for myself, social media has helped me so much that I've moved past the caring what other people think. If anybody, and I mean, especially as a 24-year-old, like it's kind of weird to post on LinkedIn. Your friends are like, oh, you like nerd, like why are you posting on LinkedIn? But I'm like, you can't argue the fact it's made me money. And so I'm looking at it as literally, it's my job now. And so I'm going to post and I'm going to maybe get a client from it, and that'd be cool.
I'm in my 40s and I still have friends texting me and calling me and be like, "Are you okay with stuff I post?"
Yeah, I mean, seriously, like some of them, I mean, friends will do that. They'll tease you and all that, but I'm like, It's gotten me some really cool connections, so you really can't argue that.
Right. Friends don't pay your bills.
Yeah, exactly, exactly. And yeah, it's all in jokes and it's for fun. So, but yeah, like that's really it. Like, I have a friend that she posts on TikTok often, and she acts like she's an influencer and will like go to restaurants and review food. She has like 3,000 followers. Like for TikTok, that's almost nothing. And but she talks a lot about how like we just need to stop caring. Like if you just act like you're supposed to be there, act like you're supposed to be filming at a restaurant, nobody cares.
Yeah, yeah. I was had a TikTok solely to promote this affiliate program for SDRs, and some of those I had a couple that went somewhat viral, like 3 million views, and the amount of like attacks you get with videos on TikTok, it really can mess with your head, and then you realize none of this matters. Like
Yeah,
none of it matters, and these people don't even like take time to like have one video on their account. So like, why would you take their opinion
yeah,
serious? Like
yeah,
they're just trolls. But there's something freeing in that process to like just sort of let go of what anyone thinks about you, and to stop being so critical of yourself. Um, in terms of businesses making videos, what's the thing maybe even you see like maybe daily on LinkedIn that they're doing wrong, or you just like cringe when you see businesses trying to make video?
Um, I would say in general, businesses on LinkedIn spend a little bit too much time focusing on the company page than they do on the people's pages. Uh, for me, like when I see a company page, I scroll past pretty fast and I just go on and I try to find my friends in the feed. And I would say if you are a business that wants to do video on LinkedIn, you have to go through the employees' channels first. And in a lot of ways the employee also has to want it. Like they also have to be like, I'm going to go do this thing, and yes, it's for the company, but this is also going to help me because in my future career or throughout the trajectory of my career, like other companies are going to see the work I did for this company and want that too. And I think people just get too scared of tying themselves to one company that it ends up not working. Like the employee's like, oh, I don't want to tie myself to the company, and then the company's like, please, and then they end up posting on the company page, and it just isn't as strong.
Yeah. Yeah, there's definitely power in getting like five of your C-suite to like start posting consistently, because the amount of reach you can and impressions you can get if everyone gets really good on LinkedIn, it's crazy. I
Yeah,
mean,
there's
it's
a
free marketing.
one of my friends, Dom Odeguardi. He just started a business last year, and it's just to help employees create some employee generated content. And his entire thing is just to activate the employees at your company. And he coaches them, teaches them. So I know that it's like a thing that works.
Yeah. Yeah, and I don't get why more, especially like SaaS companies, they don't seem to put any effort into it. And you hire all of these SDRs, and then none of them are promoting themselves on LinkedIn. It's just cold calling. It's crazy to me.
Yeah.
In terms of making videos, I guess from like beginner stage, or maybe like a smaller business, if they wanted to like up their video game, what's a one-time purchase that would help their quality of videos?
Yeah, the first purchase should be audio. Like, get a microphone. Phone audio is pretty horrible, but phone video is pretty decent. And it's, I think, has the highest ROI. You can't actually calculate it for an investment in video, but people will not tolerate bad audio, but they will tolerate bad video. I mean, again, you have the handy cam there. People actually kind of like not that great video, but they will not handle bad audio.
I totally agree. Or even the like $20 Amazon mic purchase that people use like on TikTok, and it's a little better, but it's still like really irritating if they're
Yeah,
like outdoors and there's like wind, and then it has
yeah,
like a
and you can like hear them breathing into the microphone. Yeah, it's
yeah,
horrible.
yes. In terms of, this is something that I've struggled with every day when I'm posting on LinkedIn, especially in terms of video. Which format do you think it prefers, or not prefers, but which one do you think performs the best? Is it vertical or horizontal?
I have no idea. I post both. It really depends on my mood. I used to post like some sort of an in between, like a 3 by 4, like not fully a 1080 by 1920, but and I tried to like shrink it down a bit. But I seriously don't know. I've had videos go viral on both ends.
I just watched a guy who's selling his video services, and they were going back and forth of like, if you have vertical, then you have to watch the video and then click to read the text, but if you have horizontal, you read the text. And so there's like you have to have a strong text hook, it's like a wormhole. No one has the answer and everyone's sort of guessing. I was hoping somehow you like, no, for sure this is the one.
Yeah, no, I wish I did more research on that and like actually compared the numbers, but for my own page, I'm like whatever I'm feeling, because sometimes as like a creative, I want to do something that's horizontal. I prefer it. But sometimes vertical does do better, so I don't know.
Yeah, I prefer horizontal everything, photos and video.
Yeah.
Do you think it's easy if you start producing, like for a personal brand, for example, if you start every video you do, it's kind of got a nice polish to it, like nice cuts and text. Do you think you can then go back and forth with a not polished version? Like, are you going to lose your audience by switching back, or do you sort of have to figure out your style and stick with it?
I think for myself in particular, finding my style and sticking with it has really benefited me. I just did like a speaking engagement last week with Melissa Gaglione's Citrine cohort, where she teaches people how to like create content for LinkedIn, UGC, stuff like that. But I think what helps in mine specifically is that I feel as though a lot of the content I've posted has been high quality and it has a specific look. So if somebody's scrolling on LinkedIn and they're going through all this fluff and then they see my content and they recognize the style and the look and they're like, oh, typically I trust Rayna to talk about X content, so I'm going to stop on this video. And so they're able to just like catch my content a bit faster, I think. I've noticed when I stray a bit, I don't get as much engagement, so I've really tried to tighten it and stay within the same brand, just to keep the style consistent across.
Have you figured out? And everyone's guessing, so I doubt you have an actual final answer on this. But is there a length on LinkedIn in 2026 that you say is it under a minute that it prefers, or is it 20 seconds? I just, once again, the video I just watched is saying like sometimes a 20-second video will hit, and then sometimes like a 3-minute video will hit. There's like no way to know which one. Do you see anything in terms of your posts that's working in terms of time frames of the actual length of the video?
For myself, I try to stay at like the 60-second mark. I could see myself, and sometimes I've gone up to 2 minutes if it's necessary. But for me, like LinkedIn is social media, so it's like one of those, like it has to be quick clips, like quick tips, and something that someone's scrolling past and they're quickly going to get into. If you're somebody that's really established, like a Devin Reed, I could see him posting like a 5-minute plus video onto LinkedIn and it doing well, but he has so much trust built with the LinkedIn audience that it's like, of course people are going to stop and watch him. For someone like myself who's, much smaller in scale size to him, I need to get trust quickly, as fast as possible with people. It's not always already built there.
Right. Is there a underused format that maybe people aren't, like, you're not seeing a lot on LinkedIn, in terms of, I mean, it could be a variation of things, but maybe like the editing style, like fast cuts, anything that like really stands out, like a company that's really killing it no matter the size of their videos, that really stands out in your mind when you're on LinkedIn?
In terms of specific company, I don't have that. But in terms of creators, someone like a Vin Matano, I think is really good, or like a like an Adamola Adelakian or a Connor Lewis. I feel like Vin Matano specifically, I'm extremely impressed by the way that he's built his audience. His videos, every single one has multiple shots. Like he's telling a full story. He has very specific formulas on how he creates videos. He starts with the problem, then dips into solution, and then, oh no, there's another problem again. So he's really good at that. I think that oftentimes on LinkedIn, video is not a priority for people, so they're looking for the fastest way to get video content up, which means just talking to a camera and posting it. But I think something that's missing in a lot of them is the storytelling aspect. They think that by adding just a hook at the front, that's the story, but that's not a story by just adding a hook. Vin does an extremely good job of being like, so I was sitting at my desk and I noticed that a company reached out to do this thing, but there was a problem. Like I couldn't figure out how to do the thing. And then like he'll go on to a whole like wave of problem solution, and I think that's really entertaining to watch.
Yeah. So I took a random poll and not many people responded to it, but the people who did, the two things about why they don't create video for LinkedIn was they don't feel like they have enough time, and there's also the fear of being on camera and talking to a camera. If you're going to take one step to help, get one video done a week, like in terms of your workflow, is there something that you can sort of like harness to narrow down the amount of time it takes? Because it is a lot like effort to create a video. But if say you're just like, building a personal brand and you want like, is there like a secret where like follow a template in terms of your script, or just like this is the format I'm going to do and test for a while and stick to it? Do you have any suggestions to sort of like speed up the process, because everyone has such limited time?
Yeah, I would say if you're considering putting video onto LinkedIn, you've likely already put text posts onto LinkedIn. So go find your highest performing text posts and reread them, like see if they sound natural in a speaking format, like read it out loud. And if it doesn't, make the changes to make it sound natural in a speaking tone, and then just record yourself and post it. And that could help you batch so much content, because you can go through and find your 5 best performing text posts and just go sit down one day, one afternoon, and spend an hour or two and just read them out loud and record it.
Yep, totally agree. I just watched your video about fonts, and I'm terrible at that. Like that's something that I've never been interested in, and I always, when I'm making videos, like the title or it's like whatever my mood is how I pick a font. For someone like me, is there a way to like actually get better at that, or is that something you should just outsource?
Picking fonts?
Yeah, like for a video,
Yeah.
like even for I mean, every video these days has to have subtitles, and I feel like every time I pick it, I'm like, it looks like amateur, or it doesn't look professional enough, or it doesn't look funny enough, or whatever it is.
To be fair, like the video is all in jokes. I think that I use Montserrat, which is basically another version of an Arial Helvetica or inner font. I really think like the simpler the better. Like for someone like you, if you're overthinking fonts, just choose one of those sans serif fonts and call it a day.
Okay, good to know.
Yeah.
Is there any, and this doesn't have to be unique to LinkedIn, because I don't even know of one on LinkedIn, but have you seen any like really great storytelling, or like really out of the box, like outside the box when it comes to their like format of filming stuff in terms of video content? Like for example, I know I can't think of any of these names, but if there's a car dealership that basically recreates like versions of The Office.
Oh yeah.
And it's like every post is like an episode. I know there's another one that like films in a coffee shop, and like everything's related around the coffee shop, and it's like watching a TV show. Another one that I've recently seen on TikTok is like this random old school like record shop in New York, and it's almost like you don't even know what you're watching because it's like the guy who I think runs it, like they don't ever like introduce anyone or anything. It just like goes into them like talking around this record shop. And I think the guy who owns it is just like a very crazy character. And then everyone that comes into a record shop is also very like New York, eccentric, like out of, and you're just like instantly like in that world. But when you get in it, you're like, you don't stop watching. Is there any like examples of that you've seen where it's like, this is brilliant? And it would be so hard to like come up with this idea. It's almost like you just have to like happen to live a certain lifestyle and then you'll see that as like content. But is there any examples that you've seen?
Um, so specific creators that I like that might work for this, the Tim Chuzano guy. I don't know if you've seen him on TikTok or anything. He lives in New York City. He used to work for, I think he was like really high up in Spectrum or something. He was like the media guy there, like super cool guy. But he always starts it like, this is the day in a life of a 45-year-old dad with his 11-year-old daughter. And then we'll just narrate it in like a third person perspective, and it's super sweet. And that's a really cool guy I like. Someone else. A lot of my inspiration actually doesn't come anywhere from this realm of things. I'm typically like watching YouTube, like Gawk's Life of Ryza, Colt Kerwin, like that crowd of creators that's doing a lot of the cinematic stuff. But yeah, like I consume stuff that's as far away as possible from LinkedIn content, and that's typically where I bring inspiration from.
That's good. LinkedIn needs more of that because LinkedIn can be a very boring place.
Yeah.
Sucks your soul, some people's
Oh
posts.
yeah, I need to turn it off often.
um, I just have one more question since we're past the 30-minute mark, and I'll stick to my word. I would like to finish on sharks. You said to ask, so I'm asking about sharks.
Just generally?
I mean, you said in your thing to ask about sharks, right?
Okay, yeah. Yeah, that's another thing I've been obsessed with since I was 6 years old. I love sharks. Like I used to have like a bookshelf of just shark books. And I have a tattoo of a hammerhead on my arm here, if you could
Oh,
see.
nice.
Yeah. I swam with sharks a couple years ago, which is cool.
Nice.
Yeah, generally, that's how I feel about sharks.
Okay. I swam with a whale shark in the Philippines. That was amazing and also
That's
kind of
bucket
terrifying.
list. That's
It
a
was
bucket list for sure.
That's one big shark.
Yeah.
Oh, well, I mean, that was perfect. Thank you very much again for agreeing to this. And I'm going to stop recording right now.
Cool.